Hey guys, it's the first Mall here, and it's been a good couple months. To be honest, I'm trying to figure out an excuse to tell you guys. I'm just gonna be honest. I was in the hospital for a little while, dealing with some issues I'd rather not speak about. Then also I kind of procrastinated a little bit. But hopefully this makes up a redo that people have been asking for a long time. What if Deku had a transformation power? Redo part 1. Now before we start, I'm trying to start a new story format or something like that. Instead of just making a script I read directly off, I'm trying to write like a story or like I'm reading a story. So it sounds a little bit different. So hope you guys like it. About 200 years ago, something extraordinary happened. For no reason, people started showing up with mysterious powers that defied the laws of physics. These powers were nicknamed quirks. As time passed, more people started to appear with quirks. Eventually, 80% of the population had gained a quirk. Eventually, like most people, started to abuse their powers for crime and harm. These people were known only as villains. The rise of villains as a new profession. Another profession was created as well: heroes. Sadly, our protagonist's journey to become a hero will not be an easy one. But this is still the story of how Izuku Midoriya became the greatest hero to ever exist, no matter what universe. Sorry about that. Got a slight cough. Izuku Midoriya is currently sitting in a doctor's office with his mother, Inko Midoriya. A doctor enters the room and looks at Izuku. Yeah, kid, it's not gonna happen. The doctor says in a blank and unsympathetic tone. Sorry, I can't speak. Izuku just drops his toys as he stares into space. Inko then uses her quirk, which is attracting small objects, to pull the toy towards her. Are you sure, doctor? Inko asks the doctor. As the doctor just confirms Inko's question, Inko nods and she goes home with Izuku. Izuku is currently watching the famous video of All Might's debut. His mom then walks in and sees Izuku crying. Can I become a hero, Mom? Izuku asks as his eyes started flowing with tears. His mom started crying as well. Inko just hugged her son and told him, I'm so sorry. Because 10 years later, over the years, Izuku Midoriya had a rough life. His childhood friend, Izuku used to call him Chakan, bullied him and abused him every day, and treated him horribly for being quirkless. Kachan was treated like he's some sort of god just because he was born with a strong and flashy quirk. But that will change one day. Izuku Midoriya is currently sitting in class, quietly as the teacher walks in. Everybody locks their eyes on him. As he walks towards the center of a stack of papers, he then smiles and makes an announcement. I could pass out this career application form, but we all know we want to be heroes. He then throws the papers in the air as everybody starts to cheer and celebrate by using their quirks. We're almost everybody. A familiar Pomeranian starts to talk. Don't compare me to these extras, Teach. They'll be lucky to become some psychics or some D-listers. Buddy turns their heads to look at the source of the voice. Bakugo Katsuki. Bakugo has always been cocky, ever since he got his quirk explosion. Everybody told him that he has an amazing quirk. He was going to be an amazing hero. And through the years people treating him like that, he believes he can do whatever he wants. Because he knew he could get away with it. And he did, because he had a strong quirk. We now cut to the present day. As everybody groans at Bakugo's antics, teacher comes in with an announcement. Hey Midoriya, didn't you apply for UA? As the teacher announces this, everybody starts to laugh and mock Deku, saying that he's quirkless. He can't get into UA. Or they want to accept a quirkless brat like him. Or loser. Bakugo just comes, and then out of nowhere Deku hears Bakugo. Shitty Deku! Bakugo screams as he destroys Deku's desk with an explosion. How dare you apply for UA? These extras won't get in with their shitty quirks, so it makes you think you get accepted. Who do you think you are? Do you think you're better than me? Bakugo keeps on shouting and grabs Deku by the collar. He starts creating a mini explosion in his palm. Before Bakugo can do anything, the teacher stops him, which makes Bakugo grunt in anger as he goes back to his desk. What Izuku doesn't know is that currently a mysterious and powerful being is watching him, observing him, admiring him, and kind of judging him a little bit. But then the being smirks as a strange light appears in his hand. We cut back to Izuku. As he was packing up after class, Bakugo and his goons walk in. Bakugo then took Izuku's notebook. Hey, give it back! Izuku asked nervously, or told nervously. Hey Deku, what is the point of taking hero notes? It's not like you're ever gonna use them or become one. Baku then explodes Izuku's notebook and throws it out the window. Let me give you some advice. Baku then grabs Izuku's shoulder and starts to burn it. If you try for UA, I'll kill you. He then burns Izuku's shoulder. As he leaves, Izuku tries to speak up, waiting for Baku to give Izuku a death scare, which shuts him up quickly. But as Baku's about to walk out, he turns his head and looks at Izuku. Hey, if you really want a quirk, then there is one way. Izuku looks up at Baku. Take a swan dive off the roof. And pray you get a quirk in your next life. As Bakugo tells Izuku this, you can see the life drain from Izuku's eyes. Outside of school, Izuku finds his burned notebook in a fish pond. He takes some from some fish who were eating it, and he starts to walk home. As Izuku is walking home, a man can be seen watching him from around a corner, but Izuku doesn't notice him. As Izuku continues walking, he walks underneath a bridge. Something starts to leak out of the sewer drain as soon as Izuku hears a scruffy voice. Hey kid, you wouldn't mind if I borrow your body, do you? What was that voice? I'm sorry for that voice, guys. Izuku then turns around to get to see the sight of a villain made of sludge. The sludge bit increases in size and wraps itself around Izuku. As the sludge starts to flood inside Izuku's mouth, he starts speaking. I didn't believe that freak All Might was in town. So I'm gonna need your flesh suit to escape the city. As Sludge villain told Izuku this, he engulfed him and started suffocating him with sludge. As Izuku was being suffocated, all he could do was think to himself, I can't die like this. Somebody help me! But he can't stop asking for help. Instead, his life starts to flash before his eyes. He remembers how he wished things could be different. How he hoped he had a strong power like everybody else. And with that thought, he started to pass out. Before his vision fully fades away, he sees a large figure with some yellow in what should be it. But then he hears the words, Detroit! Smash! And Izuku passes out. Izuku flickers his eyes. Even though his vision is still blurred, he may got a figure, but it's not the same one he saw before he passed out. This figure seems to be skinnier. They're not yellow, but blue, but bluish. But it's hard to tell because it's mainly a blur. But the blur is mainly red and blue. But then he sees a strange light come from the blurry figure. Luke couldn't do anything since the fact his vision was blur, but it looked like he was holding a ball of energy that looked like a galaxy. But as the blur gets closer, the light gets bigger and he starts to wake up. As Luke wakes up, he feels something smacking him in the face. Then he sees All Might slapping him awake. Ah, it seems you are woken, young man. I was starting to get worried that we lost you there, son. All Might explains. It took a second for Izuku to process it, but when he did, he started freaking out. His idol was right in front of him. Ever since he was a little kid, he wanted to be like All Might. And so, by the way, with a smile on his face, Izuku then gets up and pulls out his hero notebooks. All Might, can I get your autograph? Izuku asked nervously. Izuku started to flip through his hero notes. He sees that All Might has already signed his name in a book. Thank you, All Might. It's become a family heirloom, Izuku told him, nearly crying at the fact that All Might signed his book. Izuku then started to put his hero notebook back into his backpack. But then he noticed a strange book in his backpack. Before he gets a chance to look at it, he hears All Might speak. I am sorry, young man, but I must get this village to the authorities soon. All Might crouches as he about to jump away. But before he can jump away, Izuku runs up to him and says, Wait! Izuku then grabs All Might's leg as he jumps away. As All Might is soaring to the sky, he sees Izuku dangling from his leg. Hey, I love my fan, but this is too much! All Might tries to shake Izuku off his leg. As All Might is about to push Izuku off, something stops him. Wait, All Might! If you're pushing me off, I'll die! All Might didn't realize that at this current height, Izuku's right, he will die. All Might then lands on a nearby building. As All Might lands and puts Izuku down, All Might is about to jump away again, but Izuku stops him again. All Might, I want to ask you a question. All Might then thinks to himself, tell me what's up. Izuku then bows his head and finishes his question. Can I become a hero without a quirk? Izuku then lifts his head only to see All Might get engulfed by a puff of smoke. Izuku then sees All Might has disappeared and been replaced by some sort of small man with a body type of a skeleton. Wait, who are you? Some sort of imposter? Izuku starts to freak out. Calm down. down, kid. Let me explain. All Might then explains that this is his true form. That many years ago he got into a fight which resulted in him getting injured, only until he used his muscle form for a certain amount of time every day. As All Might finished explaining his injury, he then decides to answer Izuku's question. I'm sorry, young man, but without a quirk, you can't become a hero. Even though they were just words, Izuku felt like it was a gunshot. His idol, the man he looked up to, since he could remember, just told him he can't be a hero. But All Might continues. But if he wants to become a hero, or help people, maybe become a cop or firefighter, even though they don't get much recognition, it's still a noble profession. With that said, All Might left. As All Might left, he filled his pocket and realized the Sludge was gone. Somewhere else, an individual wearing a black hoodie, which disguised his face, was holding a body of a green Sludge. The mysterious person stopped, and he saw a certain blonde boy with explosive personality walk around with his lackeys. As All Might left Izuku just stood there like he had just been told somebody he loved had died, or been shot by a gun. Izuku decides to take a seat. He opens his backpack to grab his hero notes. He opens it and looks at the page with All Might's signature. He then starts to cry and remember all the times he was told he could become a hero. Izuku wipes the tears away. In the corner of his vision, he sees a strange book in his bag. And then pulls it out, and notices that it's a hardcover book around the size of a normal comic book. But what's interesting was Izuku was most experienced was his parents. The cover and the back had a galaxy-like species design. It had a strange title, The Book of Heroes. Izuku starts to mouth the words as he reads it. I don't remember buying this, Izuku says to himself. He then gets up and starts walking. As he opens the page, he sees that there's only 5 pages, which is odd, and the rest are blank, like it's not finished yet. But the weird thing is that it's not really a book. Each of the pages are sort of like character sheets or info cards. As he flips through it, and some sleuths through it, he thinks to himself, these guys are amazing. Izuku thinks as he reads the book, but when he lands on a page with a picture of a boy around his age, he starts to get slightly jealous. He got bitten by a spider and got similar powers to a local hero. Izuku laughs, or chuckles, but it was hard to believe. Izuku then sighs as he curses the page. Man, this guy is cool. I wish I could be like him. I wish I could be like Miles Morales. As Izuku spoke these words, in an instant he saw a strange glow come from his hand. Out of nowhere, something started to overtake Izuku's body. It was hard to explain, but the best way Izuku could describe it is that somebody started painting the universe itself onto Izuku's body. This continues to spread over his body, and less than a second, it reaches his eyes and everything went blank. So he heard a voice. That's when he heard a voice. When will I know I'm ready? Another voice answers. That's the thing, Miles. You won't. It's just a leap of faith. Izuku opened his eyes and realized he's some sort of suit. He's wearing a mask. He started to freak out and check his body. He can tell something's wrong. His body is definitely leaner, and he's wearing all black. But when he checked his hand, he sees a strange set of numbers on his hand. He's like, wait, what? Izuku only his questions only to stop when he realized something. Why doesn't my voice sound different? As Izuku continues to walk, he doesn't realize it. He's been backing up the entire time. That's when he gets a strange ring in his head, and like some sort of strange warning call. But he took a step on accident and fell off the roof. Izuku closes his eyes out of fear, but he doesn't feel the air moving. That's when he realized he isn't falling. He opens his eyes and realized he was sticking to the side of the building. How is that possible? Izuku questions as he curses the mask before lifting it up. He didn't realize something. He looks in the book and looks in the window's reflection. He looks like Miles Morales. He looks like the kid in the book. He couldn't stop remembering he's sticking to a wall. No, I don't look like him. I became him. Izuku then starts to crawl on the side of a wall with a bit of struggling. But as if it's second nature to his body, he starts to feel more natural. He has yet to master it. He then sticks his hand into the strange device in his wrist. That's when he shoots a strange web that hits another nearby building. And without a second thought, he lets go of the building he was sticking to and falls. Well, he was supposed to fall, but because the web line, he instead swung. As he swings, he screams. He's about to hit another building, only for his body to move on its own, and for the same device in his other hand to shoot a whip that allows him to swing out of the way. He then smiles as he swings. While woohooing, It took him a second, but this whip shooting and swing became smoother, like he has been doing it for months. As he swung to the street cheering, some office workers saw him swing by the window. Zuko even swung low enough to run in traffic, only swing back in air. Zuko kept swinging until he landed on a nearby building. As he looks around, he thought to himself, he's no longer quirkless. He has a quirk now, or at least some sort of power. Maybe caught him start calling him a useless deku, and call him by his name, Miles. That's when Zuko stops in his thoughts. He did just call himself Miles? But his name is Zuko. But that don't feel right either. Like, even though he has the same mind, it's different. He doesn't feel like a Zuko, he feels like somebody else, he feels like Miles. This bit made Zuko believe even more that he didn't just turn to Miles, he became him. Somewhere else, Baku and his goons were being little jerks when a mysterious man from before can be seen standing over him. As he's standing on top of a fire escape, he then opens the bottle containing the sludge villain and pours it right on Baku's head. This annoys Baku, but then he starts to scream. As Zuko questions who is he, and who is he, but we cut back to Zuko. As Zuko questions himself who he is now, his train of thought is interrupted when he hears the explosion and sees smoke, and without a second thought he jumps and swings towards it. Many pro heroes are struggling. This villain has attached himself to a kid, making the kid a hostage, and there's the nature of the kid's quirk. The kid's sense of several explosions that have set nearby buildings on fire. The hero Death Arm tries to punch the villain, only for it to have no effect to the villains being made of sludge. The hero Lady couldn't help cause due to her massive size, she was stuck and couldn't reach the area. The hero community was unable to do anything due to the fact his body was made of wood and is highly flammable. The hero Bagja was attempting to put nearby fires out with his quirk but was being overwhelmed. As all these heroes realized they weren't unable to help this hostage and defeat the villain, they all had to wait for a hero better equipped for the job, like All Might. What they didn't know was that All Might is currently watching in small form, and is unable to use his quirk to save the day. Luckily, a nearby building overseeing the incident stood a certain friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. When Zuko arrives at the incident, he sees a massive crowd watching as the heroes dealt with the villain. Normally he'd be watching, but something in his gut said this is different. So the hiding sense Zuko could overhear two men in the crowd talking. Do you hear? The reason the heroes are struggling so much is because the villain has a hostage with an extremely powerful quirk. Zuko narrows his eyes after hearing this, but then went wide-eyed when he saw who the hostage was. The hostage was no other than his ex-best friend and bully, Bakugo Kasagi. And the villain was no other than the Sludge villain from earlier. Zuko questioned how the villain escaped from Warrior Clutch, but then he remembers when he grabbed All Might's leg and he jumped away. He must have slipped out. This was his fault. If he didn't grab All Might, then the villain would have never escaped. He needed to do something because this is his fault. And with that said, Miles jumped off the roof. That's when somebody from the crowd screamed, "Look at that!" As everybody sees Miles swinging. Miles lands on the side of a building. He shot webs at some of the fires. His webs aren't exactly flame-proof. They would melt or catch on fire itself in less than a minute. But the webs were so thick that was able to suffocate the fire and put it out before it could catch the webs on fire. The Sludge villain saw the spider, and which pissed him off. Buzz off! The Sludge villain then raises Baku's hand. That's when Zuko hears a ring again, and something like a ring go off his head. That's when Miles saw the villain force clutching to lift his hand, and as if time slowed down, Miles jumped off the building and dodged an explosion. As he lands on a nearby fire escape, he realized something. He said that one of Miles' powers was spider sense. When he realized that spider sense must be some sort of danger warning, Miles soon snapped out of his thoughts as he sees another explosion. He dodges it and starts running across the wall. He then jumps and flips over the Sludge villain. But as he's flipping over, he shoots two stream of webs that attach to Baku's shirt. But as he lands, he gets ready to pull Baku out. But before he can, the Sludge villain grabs his legs and yanks Miles towards him, swinging him and slamming to the ground. This makes the crowd gasp and the heroes worry for the kid. As Miles tries to stand up, he senses something weird. He looks at his hand and sees a faint glow. As if his muscle memory, he realizes he gets an idea. Miles then stands up and faces the Sludge villain. As Miles' eyes narrows, the villain grunts. Listen, kid, if you don't buzz up, I'll burn you to a crisp. The Sludge villain then forces Baku to create a small explosion. Miles just narrows his eyes again and sees Baku's face. He sees a desperation and fear. He tries to run at the villain, only villain trying to create. The Sludge villain tries to create explosions, but Miles just dodges. Miles then shoots a pair of webs at the villain's eyes, which temporarily blinds him. Miles then jumps onto a wall and starts to run across it, but also getting higher and higher. He jumps. As he jumps, he shoots 2 streams of webs at Baku. He then lands and pulls the webs. As he pulls the webs, Baku is yanked out of the Sludge villain and flung over both him and the Sludge villain. Death Arms, catch! That's when Death Arm realized that the kid has flung Baku towards him. As Death Arm catches the kid, the Sludge villain screams. The Sludge villain starts to charge at Miles, but Miles just turns around. Take this, sewer waste! His fist then glows. Venom shock! He then punches the Sludge villain, and because the villain is made of sludge, instead of paralyzed, it goes limp and rams into Miles, throwing water at a brick wall. And the Sludge villain splatters around. It puts out some of the fires. Man, I hope that doesn't break my washing machine. He then wipes off the sludge up on his costume. As he turns around, he sees a crowd. And there's a moment of silence before they cheer. The crowd starts cheering. Miles can only think of one thing. So this is how it feels. This is what it feels like to be a hero. Miles then smiles underneath his mask and chuckles a bit. The heroes then walk up to Miles, says, "Not bad, kid." Miles lights up after getting some praise. Sadly, it doesn't last long. The heroes then put their hands on Miles' shoulder. "Sorry, kid, but you're under arrest." It makes the crowd go silent, and Miles' smile turns to a frown. "Wait, what?" The hero then shakes his head. "Sorry, kid, but using your quirk is against the laws." Death Arm tries to pull Miles. Miles then grabs Death Arm and flicks it off. This surprises Death Arm because this kid is really strong. Miles then takes a step back. "Look, I'm flattered you want me so badly, but I have other plans." He then does the classic finger guns. As the hero's about to stop him, he then sees him vanish in thin air. They look around before they hear a voice and see him reappear on the side of a building. But don't take this personally. I'm just not ready for a prisoner. That's too much of a commitment. Before they can respond, he swings away. But right by his swing, he hears a voice. "Wait, who are you?" Everybody then turns their head to look at a blonde with a skeleton-like figure. Miles then turns his head and he tells them the truth. "I'm your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man." With that, Miles swings away. Everybody just stares in confusion, but All Might smiles. Miles continues to swing through the city, but as he turns into an alley, he hears a strange noise. He looks around. He looks at his palms and sees a strange timer. As it hits 0, Miles gets engulfed in the same space like before, or strange light like before. He reverts back to his Zuko Midoriya. Zuko starts floating until he lands in a dumpster. He then groans until he rolls over and falls off the dumpster and into the asphalt. Izuku then groans as he stands up. "What happened?" The twin looks at his hand and sees the number on his finger is going back up. She tries to wipe it off, but it won't come up. It's as somebody has engraved the timer in his palm. That's when Izuku gets a light bulb. He's like, "This is sort of a timer." He doesn't know what the limit is though, since he's still counting up. Now that he wasn't distracted enough, he started to question what happened before. How did he become somebody else? Can he do that again? And then Izuku feels something on his side. It's a small notepad. But he grabs it, it gets bigger and becomes the book from earlier. He then opens the book and sees Miles again. Izuku about to say his name again, but stops and looks at his hand. He says that it looks like it's only at a minute. It seems to go up by 2 or 3 seconds every second. If his theory was right, maybe the reach-up period is shorter than the time limit. As he opens the book, he skips Miles' page and then looks at another person. Then says, "Well, it can't be." As he says their names. As he says their name, he's engulfed by another glow. A hand then grabs a broken mirror out of trash. "This is amazing!" He looks in the mirror and he sees a pink-haired man wearing a white scarf and a black vest. "I don't just turn into Miles, I can turn into all of them! I can be a hero!" He then smiles and on instinct he says the famous set of words. "I'm all fired up!" That book from earlier starts to get its page flipped by the wind. And we can see is 5 different forms. Miles Morales, Iron Man, Mine, Tracer, and Natsu Dragoneel. But Luffy doesn't realize that these forms were only the beginning, because in a distant future, when he becomes #1 hero, he will be known as the hero who can turn into 100 different heroes, each one from a different world. Wow, okay guys, I think that's the end for this video. I gotta admit, I like the length it came out to. If it's the new format, it's hard to tell how long it will be, but 9 pages seem to be like 25 minutes, which I like. But I hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And really do like and subscribe if you like the video, because it makes more people see my video and stuff like that. But for now, I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you guys next time, I guess. For now, peace out and bye.